Rider Michael Booth, and away they go for the first time of asking, and the entire grid pouring down towards the first right-hander at Richie's. In they go. You can see Michael Collins there just nabbing second place, but it is James Dye that hits the front. James Dye, like a number of these young riders, again another of the ex-Superteenies, and James Dye absolutely renowned throughout his Superteen career for being an absolutely electric starter, so it's no surprise to see him get away from this first ever Triumph Challenge grid in the lead. A good lead too as they get down into the S's for the first time. Behind him in the blue leathers there is Michael Collins, and right up the exhaust pipe of young Michael is number 33 Oliver Linsdell. That looks like Greville Ball going down into the bomb hole there. Greville, one of a number of riders, I should say, that is a previous champion as far as Bemsey Championships go. The Triumphs, of course, and the Superteens running on the Bemsey MRO program that runs right throughout the year, and they hit the centre straight out of Russell's for the first time. And at the moment, James Dye managing to turn a very good start into a very good lead, but right behind him, trouble for Michael Collins. Ollie Linsdale just ducks down underneath as they come through Riches and nabs second, and he's going to, I think, establish that second place as they run down Revitt Straight. It's a long old drag race. Here they go again. They come out of the S's there once again. It's Greville Ball. Smile for the camera, Grev. We've seen him twice now. And up they come through the bomb hole and out onto Coram. This long right-hander has about 3 apexes. Coram really is the most complicated. What looks like a simple right-hander from the air is a very complicated bend indeed. So out they come from Russell's. It's beginning to concertina up a little at the front. James Dye's lead being chewed back by a charging Ollie Linsdell. Ollie is bringing Mike Collins with him. All these three, of course, part of the Michelin Young Guns side of this championship. And for the older riders, the Triple Challenge riders, it's Ricky Chadwick currently leading and way back in the pack at the moment. But on a bit of a charge is Michael Neves. Mike, who's one of the great racing journalists as far as bike racing is concerned. There's a number of journalists, of course, both cars and bikes, that have ridden throughout their careers. And I have to say, probably there are more successful riders who are journalists on bikes than there have been in cars, with one or two notable exceptions. Michael Neves being one of them. He's a fine rider, and also a great journalist and a great friend of bike racing in general. I know he loves his bike riding. This year he's actually had an opportunity to ride both World Superbikes and MotoGP bikes. Maybe more of that later. He describes the experience as being totally awesome, and I think one can fully agree with that. Still, the lead is being diminished. James Dye, Michelin Young Gun, former Super Team, out the front, down onto Revitt Straight, but look at Ollie Linsdell closing in, and Michael Collins staying with him. Michael Collins making a reputation in his own right for many a year, been referred to as the younger brother of Bob Collins, but Michael very successful. But there at the chicane, you just see James Dye losing out for the first time to Ollie Linsdell. Ollie taking advantage, braking under the bridge, and he leads around Coram. Now then, James Dye, have to say, he's got another weapon in the armoury. Not only is he one of the best starters, but he's also a real fighter. So this is what we need to see from James. It's certainly what he'd like to see for the rest of this race. Ollie Linsdell gets by into the lead, but James ain't gonna let him have it all his own way. The one who really, I think, needs to watch out now is Mike Collins. He's in third place, but the front two going at it hammer and tongs. He needs not to be dropped by the leaders, because there's plenty of trouble behind. The Triple Challenge, we're still looking at Ricky Chadwick. Now, Ricky, a very successful rider over the years with Bemsey. He's absolutely loving this ride. He's been relishing it for months and months. This championship, as we said before, has been on the boil for 18 months. That's how long Tony Scott's been toiling away to make it work. And a lot of riders with a lot of experience like Ricky Chadwick have been very eager to get aboard the Triumphs. Most of last season we saw Ross Walter campaigning at times a lone triumph in a couple of the Bemsey Championships while they developed the bike, and Ross put in some absolutely superb performances and had some brilliant wins. And I know that a lot of the more experienced riders, should we say, not just older but more experienced, were absolutely licking their lips at the prospect of getting aboard these things. So this is it then, the very first of the championship rounds, but at the moment it's the under 24s, the Michelin Young Guns, who are showing the way here at a, well, it's almost supernaturally sunny Snetterton, given that this is so early in the year. And somebody running very wide there at Ritchie's, but up the front we still have Ollie Linsdell from James Dye, and there Ollie and James being chased still by Michael Collins, and there the Triple Challenge leader Ricky Chadwick. He's not catching the leaders, but he's certainly not being dropped. There you see the leaders going through Russell, first, second, third and to fifth in fact, and Ricky Chadwick in sixth place, the leading Triple Challenge runner. And there, head down and Crosser St George charging up the centre straight, trying to get in amongst the young riders. But at the moment, class of the field at the front, Ollie Linsdell, James Dye. He really is a never say die rider as well. He will not give this one up till well after the checker flag if he can help it. Absolutely charging along. Frankly, if there's more than a couple of tenths between these two at the flag, I shall be absolutely amazed. And further back down the field here at Ritchie's, we see a battle for 14th, 15th, 16th places, and Adam Kemp just getting the better there of Tony Hart, running around the outside of Tony as they enter the corner. And meanwhile, just take a second to look at the crowd in the background. It's not exactly shirt sleeve weather, it's shirts off weather. Absolutely fantastic at this stage of the season. But the leaders back towards the start finish line, and there you get a lovely impression of the uphill as you run right across the start finish line here at Snetterton. When you're standing by the track it looks as flat as your hat, but actually it is a steep rise up from the exit of the chicane down at Russell all the way up to the start finish line. And James Dye, well, you can see he may have been passed by Ollie Linsdell, but he's not going to let him go. And there's still great battles running all the way down through the field. We see Greville Wall at the back there. He's running in 12th place at the moment, but Ollie Linsdell once again snaking under braking as he exits the S's there, and James Dye bouncing around through the bomb hole, and here they go over into this long right-hander at Coram. And here one of the last of the great, one of the first of the great late breakers bouncing across there, doing a little bit of motocross is Ben Cater on number 82. That's looked a little bit corrugated. He'll be feeling rather uncomfortable at the end, but there, the yellow flag with that black cross on, denoting the beginning of the last lap. So head down for James Dye in second place, and Ollie Linsdell. Well, Ollie's got to hang on from the front of this one. James Dye, he's got about 3/4 of a lap to make a move. Can he do it? The first ever Triumph Triple Challenge race proper. It's the Michelin Young Guns who in this race so far are showing the way home to the older riders in the Triple Challenge. But look at this, James Dye closing under braking at the S's once again, and he's right with him down in the bomb hole. He's so much closer this time round. You'd fancy his last real chance is under braking into Russell's. This is where it can all go a little bit silly, but he looks around the outside. Ollie Linsdell simply has to take his line, and as long as he sits it up, yes, you'd fancy this one has to go the way of Ollie Linsdell. He looks left, he looks right, don't bother looking, Ollie. James is right with you, but the checker flag is out.